meeting brings together parents, education stakeholders in the Soufriere community. The objective of this meeting this afternoon is to sensitize you parents and to create an awareness of an EQUIP project which the school is currently enrolled in. In 2018, as Ms. Nag mentioned earlier in her introduction, the government of St. Lucia, in partnership with the Caribbean Development Bank, commenced the implementation of the Education Quality Improvement Project, short for EQUIP, which is geared towards the overall enhancement of St. Lucia's education sector. One of the areas of emphasis under that initiative is the improvement of school-community relations and the establishment of a National Parent-Teachers Association, as Mrs. Shalmine mentioned in her remarks. The desired outcome is the infusion of greater parental and community involvement in the operational activities of our learning institutions and the education of our nation's children. And when I say learning institution, let me tell you that at the inception of this project, all the schools in Soufriere, I should say, were extended an invitation. So when we started, I think in 2020, Ms. Lafay was on board as well as Ms. Combi, who was acting at Soufriere Comprehensive. We attended a few workshops, and then towards when we recommenced, COVID came and brought a halt to the events, the activities, and we started again last year. And 4 schools were identified to run under the project. That would be Soufriere Primary as the sole primary school, Miku Secondary, PI Secondary, and Lady Gordon, which is the school for the deaf in Sisewan. Now, when I heard, I said to myself, oh my, why Soufriere Primary? It looks like we're always piloting something. Miss, where's the plane? Okay, as my teachers like to joke when I tell them we are part of a project. Okay, but I must say, in light of what is happening right now in St. Lucia, in Vieux-Fort, and as recent as last week in Soufriere, where Monday we lost a life so close to home, my nephew, and by Thursday of that same week, one of my students had lost a dad to gun violence. Both incidents, and not just my student, students also at Soufriere Infant. So in so many ways, I said to myself, Heavenly Father, this project couldn't be more timely, and I think it is necessary. And it should, I am hoping, like the consultants and the people in charge, that the ripple effect will continue and that this project will be brought to every educational district in St. Lucia. So I am hoping that we at Soufriere Primary will do justice to what is expected of us. Okay, so let me go through it again, and that's why you are here, parents. The desired outcome is the infusion of greater parental and community involvement in the operational activities of our learning institutions and the education of our nation's children. It is hoped that the enhancement of school community partnerships will allow us to more effectively cater to the needs of our diverse learners and, more importantly, our communities. EQUIP is also focused, and allow me to share, this is my role this afternoon, I'm going to tell you about the project. So EQUIP is also focused on strengthening system leadership, and I have been involved in several workshops under that theme. I have with me today, and I'm so overjoyed to have him with me today, Mr. Bob has been one of our parents from the get-go with us. He has attended quite a few change leadership workshops, all under that EQUIP project, as well as other persons. Jenna, we've had a few parents. But today it is our opportunity, now is the time for us to create a wider sensitization of the community. So for now, for the past few months and the past year, it has been a few of us who know of this project and persons in the education sector, the EO and the principals. But now is the time for you, the parents, to become aware of what is happening and your role, what is expected. We are hoping, I am hoping that this is just the first whetting, allow me to use that word, of your appetite. Okay, and at the end of this initiative that we are trying to do here today, that some of you will be so touched and want to serve along with us at Soufriere Primary School to bring about that desired change that we would like to see. And not just Soufriere Primary School, but in our community. In our community. I had a video to share. A few days ago, 2 days ago, I got a video. Somebody called Miss. Have you seen the video of the children at your school? And I'm thinking like, oh my, I hope they're not wearing my school uniform. First thought that went to my mind. Literally. So I said, no, miss, I've not seen it. And it means when somebody calls me out of the blue and tells me that, it has gone viral, parents. I hope you understand what it means, okay? And sadly, most times we are the last to know. So she sent me the video clipping, okay? And I said, thank God, they were dressed in house clothes. And it happened at the Soufriere mini stadium, and it was evening time. But at the same time, I said to my teachers yesterday, you see, they're still our children at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, on Saturday, on Sunday. I have another case. It was brought to my attention. Something transpired on the weekend, and it was brought to my attention. So, even if it does not take place in the school, I cannot turn my back and say it does not affect me. And the same goes for you as parents and stakeholders. Anything that involves a school child, it will affect every single person in the community. We are in this together. We are in this together. And we can say as many times as we want that nous pas mêlés, c'est pas riche moins, but believe you me, it will not augur well for us in the future. So system leadership, development of a national qualifications framework, all that is part of EQUIP. The formulation of a gender-responsive framework for parent training, which is why you are integral to the success of this EQUIP project. Failure to get parents to buy the idea means the project has not worked. It depends largely on the community coming into the schools, the community willing to work with the school to bring about that desired change. Okay? And Mrs. Shalmine said it eloquently in her remarks. And Ms. Regis is here also for a good reason, because part of EQUIP, part of the work that EQUIP is doing is geared towards sensitization and building that awareness towards the need for special education in schools. So they've done a lot of work. I have a teacher at my school who just completed a course with them, and I'm sure that many teachers around St. Lucia were privy to that course, and they have gotten that kind of qualification. So don't think, why Soufriere Primary? Other parts of the project are being done with other schools on the island, but Soufriere Primary is involved in the one that focuses on community-school relationship, enhancing the quality of that.
From the work is done, you could be who you wanna. Students, even if school just open, and for some reason things not working, that mean you have to give up on your school. Trust me, work harder, you'll be at the top soon. Or is it just the vibe you are feeling it? You may be lazy and your mind can't deal with it. Your grades go be better, I doubt, cause success is earned by the sweat of thy brow. Now I tell you, go and study the whole day, but put in the work, show the teacher you don't play. Don't do like some other man that there's go be. Focus on you and make sure that you okay. Teachers absent, but it's how bad you want it. What are you willing to do just to have it? You ever lie and say you need the bathroom to go and pee, just for you to study cause the classroom was noisy? Come closer, you really need to head it. It's about the kind of friends you should pair with. If Dennis skipping class, then why you walking with Dennis? You don't know the principal, go watch you like a menace. Even if they tell you fall, go as speedy. Tell them how you can't go, you busy. I know you probably here by harmonies of mad pet, but for the time that you cannot be distracted. Stay around good friends, split from the rest. Don't study Jacques with his feet on the desk. In academics you must become the best, cause education is the key to success. You need to have friends like Hermione, friends that will tell you let's go to the library. You see Greg, doggy, that man is my shooter. Every time I laugh in, he'll tell me take a booker. The teacher teaching, tell me what you want to laugh for. What you sitting at the back of the class for? You don't even know where to insert commas, but in English class you want to disturb others. Don't follow them man, cause them man ain't. USC suspension again. You don't need friends, dedication to get through. Education will help you. The streets getting cold, it ain't no bread, it ain't no butter. Your queen getting old, you have to take care of your mother. Dog, you have to be a star for your mom, you know. I ain't want to buy no bar playing them, you know. So at this point you ought to be single unless you encounter some positive people. People that will make you surpass your limits and graduate and be like, so fast we did it this semester. Clean up this messer. Make sure that you defeat Sylvester. Even if you fail all and you go see errors, with a little bit more hard work and perseverance, determination and commitment will make you stay long undefeated. Go for your bachelor's, I know you could do it. No need for answers, your hard work will prove it. Yes, you can still become number one if you want. Yes, you can become anything you want. From the work is done, you could be who you wanna. Then at 10.
A short introduction of myself and what I do. I am Woman Police Constable 774 Epiphane. I am attached to the Community Relations Department under the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. In essence, my duties entail working closely with the schools, the social workers, the police, and other institutions in the community, the social workers, the counselors, to engage the youth and to adapt healthy behaviors and to educate the youth on healthy behaviors. Sometimes we use interventions. We have interventions at the school, especially if we are called in for a serious concern at the school. Or sometimes we might have lectures as well to educate them on drug use, on any illegal activity, online bullying. We have a serious issue with bullying at the school, loitering, aggressive behaviors. We also have issues of children that are sadly very young, engaging in gangs. So these are some of the things that we usually have on a daily basis at the school. Children engaging in very illegal activities sometimes, sadly. So I am very, very happy to be part of this initiative, to be part of this project, and I am looking forward to working with everyone to try to bring a better St. Lucia, a better Soufriere. Because at the end of the day, it starts at home, parents, it starts at home. The school cannot do it alone. The law cannot do it alone. The community cannot do it alone. We have to work as a team. So I am looking forward to doing that, and I have an open door policy. I work in the Soufriere district. I work in the Choisel district. So anyone can come to me if there's any issues that they need me to take care of, okay? Yes, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I beg to adopt the protocol that has already been established, and it's a wonderful gathering, it's a wonderful initiative. I thank God for the project that has been established and for the hardworking principle behind it, because of course it's Soufriere Primary and Infant that has brought us together. I start with a true anecdote. When I graduated from university, don't do the math, a while ago. So I came back to my community, and some of the neighbors wanted me to help their children with a few things. And there was a particular young man, I think he was about 6 or 7, and his parents wanted me to help him with his spelling. And I must tell you, his spelling was atrocious. In fact, he would tell you that himself. So I'm not insulting him. It was very bad. I mean, he couldn't even spell things like said. S-A-I-D. So I was working with him every day. I was trying to encourage him. I tell him, any word that is in the English language, I can help you to spell it. Just don't be afraid. And it was bad. Every day it was like we were starting from zero. Does that make sense, the parents? If that makes sense, say yes. All right. So I'm working with him every day, and it's like pulling teeth, or worse than that. And then one day he comes to our session, and his eyes are bright, he's smiling, and he says, "Sir, I want you to help me to learn the word beautiful." And my expression didn't change, but in my mind I'm like, no way, you cannot even spell said, but that's in the back of my mind. You encourage people. Are we together? So I taught him how to spell the word beautiful. And then that was, trust me, enough work for the day. So the next day I came, and I expect to start it all over again, because that's been the trend for months. And he comes in and he says BEAUTIFUL. And you could have picked me up the floor, because I couldn't believe it. I said, what? And he spelled it again, and he spelled it a few times, and he spelled it with joy. And of course, I had to ask him, I said, how did you learn to spell that? It wasn't me. He said, listen, there's this girl I like in school, and I want to write a note, you are beautiful. So, there you go. Motivation. You bet. I don't know if he and the girl are still together. It's been a while. But, so this is why the school and the community needs to bridge the gap, because I know teachers work hard. I'm married to a teacher, so I know how hard they work. All right, they put in long hours, and don't mind they have holidays, they're still working. Are we together, teachers? If you're together, say yes. Yeah. So, but we need to work together, and that's what you say. So, I was helping him pretend I'm the school for a minute, but he needed the girl as the motivation, you see. And so just think of the girl as the community. You can motivate everybody in the school. And you know what? I want to give some encouragement just before I leave for the primary school. Like you said, it's a burden in a way, but it's a privilege. And research shows, I get that from my wife, so you can't doubt it and so on. Between the ages of 0, that means when you're in the belly, between the ages of 0 and 7, a child can learn anything. And I'll just give you a quick example for the sake of time. A child between 0 and 7 can learn any language. Is that not true? You take a St. Lucian baby, you send them to Germany, they learn German, send them to Russia. But after 7, what happens is that the brain compartmentalizes. It doesn't shut down completely, of course, because we're all adults. But the brain, I'm just putting it in layman's terms, that's how I could understand. The brain said, okay, that's enough information. I am going to pick and choose what I want after that. So that means a primary school is the best place to bring this project, because you can teach the child anything at that age. And again, I'm just using the opportunity to learn a language. Before the age of 7, everybody can learn any language, but after the age of 7, are we together? I'm still trying to learn German after many years. So. That's it, Vovon and C and so on. Beautiful. Now, what we're saying is, you can teach the child, and where's where the community comes in, the stakeholders. I mean, I think you've already said it. For CHASTANET, I've been working for CHASTANET for 27 years. I came here and they were already sponsoring all the schools. So that means decades going back. So on CHASTANET, I can give you the pledge, and now JADE Mountain, I can give you the pledge that they will always, the courtesy of the owners, Mr. and Mrs. Trubetskoy, they will always support. But that's why we need the community. They will always support in terms of graduation and things that you need. They will sponsor. They will do that. But we need the community to provide that motivation so that the kids can learn. The teachers will always do their part. They will sacrifice, but you need that extra motivation. And what is education anyway? Education is not learning what X is and what Y is, because do we still, if you have an X, do you know why? And so on. Think about that. I'm not talking about maths. All right. So, anyway. But what we say is you need to have that foundation. And so what is education? Education is basically providing a child with a positive self-esteem and to give them mental and emotional soundness. That's it. You notice I didn't put the X and the Y. Education, when you give somebody a positive self-concept, they will go out and do positive things in the community. They will not raise a gun or raise a knife, or they'll not be, at airlines and say, these people have a lot of money, I can take that and put that in my pocket. When you have a positive self-esteem, you don't do that. And I'm talking about even if you're poor. Just say you're poor and you're a Christian. You know what Christians do? Christians don't say, God will understand that I steal. Christians will say, God, I don't have any money, and the children need food. I'm depending on you. And guess what? God always delivers. Yeah. When I pray, God always delivers. And when you pray, God will always deliver. That's what Christians do, and we are in a Christian community, so you're not going to steal or rob or put people down. So education gives you a positive self-esteem, and then you go out there and you have mental and emotional soundness. And we talk about mental health. That's what it cures, because people think mental health is when you're down the road and you're talking to yourself and you're muttering. No, that's 10 years after you start breaking down. Mental health is when you're able to perform ordinary tasks in an ordinary manner. You see, you can just do it, and you can deal with stress without getting stressed out. See, if you have a problem with that, then you're already into mental health issues, you see. So when you have a good education, then they know if you're being stressed out, this is how I deal with stress. This is how I deal with it, because everybody has stress, but you deal with it, right? A wedding is positive stress, but you deal with it well, huh? Yeah, that's right. After the wedding comes the honeymoon. Lots of good things. I'm referring to reading. I mean, you didn't think I was referring to something else. Like people read after they get married. They bring lots of books to the room. So beautiful. So what I'm saying is emotional soundness. So when the stresses come, you know how to cope with it. And that's what you teach in school, how to cope with emotional stress, how to cope with mental stress, so you don't know. So when you see the people matter interest, that's 10 years down the road. We can stem that by having a good primary school education. So I'm calling on all the stakeholders, including myself, to come on board. The banks, the private companies, the insurance companies, the churches need because that's what, if a church disappears, will people miss it? That's what you have to ask yourself. Will people miss you if you disappear? So churches need to come on board, and how do we do it? Last paragraph is that you consider yourself equal partners. The same thing you were saying, equal partners. It's not that this school is just that school. No, that's my school. I don't have to have anybody in there. That's my school. That's my students, and so on. And so everybody needs to play their part. So bring the school children into your projects. Bring them into public projects, bring them into projects, let them build a garden, let them build a community center. And they know when they get into the world, that's mine. I built it long ago. I planted that seed and look, the tree is growing. That's my tree. And so when they come and work for CHASTANET or anywhere else, they say, I'm going to give my best because that's my company. And so everybody is going to gain from that. That's what education is about, providing that so that people come and they make positive, sound, moral contributions, ethical contributions to the community, and leave the community a better place than when they entered it. God bless you, and enjoy the rest.
But more importantly, I'm here because I believe in this initiative. It makes sense. The community and the school should be working. In fact, let me tell you something. There really should not be a gap between the community and the school, because the school is part of the community. But we have it that there's a gap, and we need to close that gap because it makes sense. We all are stakeholders. And what's a stakeholder? A stakeholder is any body or organization whose actions and behavior can affect another organization or individual, and likewise their behavior can affect you. So the success or the failures of the school will impact and has been impacting our community. We can't run away from that. It's just a natural connection, a natural relationship. Now we hear all the time that there are about four main stakeholders in education. Really? So they say we have the Ministry of Education, you have the parents, you have the staff, and you have the students. Really? Isn't the school impacting the business places as well? Who do they get their employees from? Who do I get my members from who are supposed to save at the credit union? The schools. So we have a vested interest in ensuring that the school succeeds. The parents want to see their students, their children do well. And one of the things that I'm seeing that is eroding, sadly, is the confidence and the support of parents, some parents, in the teachers and the schools. So they are quick to bad talk teachers and schools when they fall short. How is that helping your child at all in terms of his or her development? I can tell you, I taught for 13 years, and I've never come across a teacher who would not be happy if every single child in their class succeed. There is no greater joy for a teacher than a successful child that can look at that child has done well. And you know what's even more fulfilling for us? When those children that we know are not necessarily the brightest, but put in the hard work, went through all the tribulations, may not have done well in their CXC, but you see them as being some of the model people. You see Donathan, I don't know if you all know Donathan's story, but Donathan's story is remarkable. If you know it, you'd probably appreciate what he has become right now. And I still feel Donathan needs to be given the support that he needs to have, because I can't think of anybody who earns that title more. He likes to call himself the lyrical god. And everything you heard there today and more, if you go on Facebook, that's his writings, positive writings. Why shouldn't Donovan have had an album by now, Mr. Jean-Paul? And CHASTANET is one of the model corporate citizens in Soufriere from times. They support graduation, sports, and so on. And I think we should look up to CHASTANET for that. But there's more we can do. There's still more we can do. I can think of a few ideas. Couldn't CHASTANET and some of the corporate citizens try to identify and reward hard-working teachers? A weekend for two at CHASTANET. Yeah? Groceries from Shopper's Choice. You know? The sports clubs who receive those students, the sports clubs and the youth clubs. What's preventing those sports clubs from organizing a program where they come into the schools and they help the sports teachers out during the PE program? Instant loan approval for good students and good teachers at the First Asia Credit Union. Lower interest rates. Yes. The reality is that if we sit back and we think that the success of the school only relies on those four main stakeholders, we are bound to fail. All right? Those four stakeholders are doing what they're supposed to do. Although I think in terms of all four of them, I think the teachers are still holding their own. The schools are still holding their own. They're still committed teachers, as Ms. Clovis said. The education ministries and so on are still doing what they're supposed to do. Are we doing what we're supposed to do as parents, though? Do we still look at parents as teachers as important to the development of our children? And of course, they are human, so they make mistakes. But the way we choose to handle how they make their mistakes, is it helping the situation? So you bad talk your teacher in front of your child. And you expect that to help your child? How? You approach the teacher and you let the teacher know on a one-on-one, hey, this is what happened. This is how I feel about it. Can we move past that? All right? No teacher will start off not liking a child. And I thought for 13 years, the only children that I had an issue with, the only time I take a child to the office, is a child who was disrespectful. I expect them to be troublesome. I expect them to not show the kind of effort. But when you cross the line of being disrespectful, that's where I want to pull you up. All right? But every teacher has the best interest of the child at heart. Do you as parents have it? And we love our children, and I think we love our children, but some of us may be showing the love in the wrong way. And it is working against what I think all of us should be aspiring to have children leaving our schools as good model citizens that are going to be productive and are going to help bring up the standard of our community. Now, I think Soufriere is still one of the better communities. I would have experienced that as a teacher when I went to do my PE, my sports at the schools. Nehemiah is there, he could tell you. We had some of the best behaved children when you go to sports meet. But that is changing. Our communities are beginning to deteriorate, and we all are going to be affected by it at some point or the other. And we need to try and fix it now. I see Ms. Clovis, I'll be honest, I see you doing some great things with your school. You could see it by the support you get from your teachers. And there are a crop of parents that you have that are very supportive of the school. And that's because of, I think they believe in you. And I want to urge you to continue. I think a lot of the corporate citizens would like to come on board. But they only come on board when we invite them. So we write to them, they would normally say yes. So we need that group that we're talking about that will look at what else can the corporate community, what else can the stakeholders do and contribute to the success of the school. So you always need some leader, some think tank that will now be able to write. It can't be only the relationship is only when we want a financial sponsorship for graduation and a sports meet and so on. Yeah, we're there for that. But maybe we could be doing more, and maybe we want to do more, and maybe we can do more, but we have not thought about it as yet. So some of the ideas that I shared maybe is what we can come out of this group, this think tank. How can the community and the school work closer for us to be able to have a better Soufriere? All right, so I pledge my full support for it as a parent, as an individual, and as the manager of the Foster Jack Credit Union. I'll be looking for ways maybe to see how we can support beyond just the financial support. And I'm hoping that this project, this pilot project, is successful, because I think we need to replicate it in every other school in Soufriere and on the island. Okay, so I urge everybody who's here to volunteer and be part of this community that is part of the school. Okay, thank you.
A pleasant afternoon to all present here today. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this gathering. In a very special way, I would like to thank our Acting Education Officer for District 8, Mrs. Joelle Charlemagne, for her meaningful and inspiring speech. Principal of the Soufriere Infant School, Ms. Cecilia Lafayette. Principal of the Soufriere Special Education Center, Ms. Claret Regis. District Councillor, Mrs. Agatha Emmanuel, Ms. Bernal St. Rose, President of the Soufriere Youth and Sports Council, Officer Epiphane, Community Relations Officer of the St. Lucia Royal Police Force, our entertainer, our very own Don Lucien, for his lyrics and positive message, representatives from CHASTANET Jade Mountain Resort, Mr. Jacques, for the humor and the message as well, Soufriere Regional Development Foundation, Mr. Constable, Fond St. Jacques Co-operative Credit Union, the General Manager, Mr. Bob, 88.5 Soufriere FM, specially invited guests, members of the media, parents, teachers, and students as well. I would like to leave you with this inspiring quote by Marian Wright Edelman. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Fitting based on what you were gathered here today for. Once again, thank you for your attention and for making this afternoon session a remarkable one.